World Zionist leaders initiated a program to change America and its religious orientation. One of the tools used to accomplish this goal was an obscure Civil War veteran named Cyrus Scofield. Now, a much larger tool was the world-respected European book publisher, the Oxford University Press. The scheme was to alter the Christian view of Zionism by creating and promoting a pro-Zionist subculture within Christianity. Scofield's role was to rewrite the King James Version of the Bible by inserting Zionist-friendly notes in the margins, between verses and chapters, and on the bottom of the pages. The Revised Bible was called the Scofield Reference Bible, and with limited advertising and promotion, it became a best-selling Bible in America, and has remained so for the last 90 years. Now, Scofield produced a revolutionary book that radically changed the context of the King James Version. It was designed to create a subculture around a new worship icon, the modern state of Israel, a state that did not yet exist, but was already on the drawing boards of the committed, well-funded authors of World Zionism.
So like a curious traveler on a quest, we embark upon a journey of information. Stay with us for a ride into knowledge.
Theodore Herzl and the Rothschilds first approached the current pope at the time, Pope Pius X, who immediately rejected facilitating the Zionist takeover of Palestine. The Rothschilds, who were after seizing the land of Palestine, knew that they had to get the Protestant churches on board with their agenda. So they recruited a non-Jew Christian theologian called C.I. Scofield to convince the Protestant churches that the Jews must retake the promised land to fulfill prophecy. The target was to infiltrate Protestant Christianity by creating their own Bible. Now, 4 years after the Zionist Congress in 1897, that would be 1901, the powerful Zionist Samuel Untermyer funded Scofield to write his reference Bible. Untermyer also approved Scofield's membership into an exclusive club for the financial and literary elite called the Lotus Club. Its members were atheists, communists, eugenicists, and people that normally a Christian theologian and pastor would never have anything to do with. In 1904, Theodore Herzl, along with the Rothschilds, approached the Pope, as we said, and the Pope rejected them. Then in 1909, the first edition of the Scofield Reference Bible was printed. Now that's just 4 years after the first International Zionist Congress. In 1913, the Federal Reserve privatized central bank was formed, and Samuel Untermyer was also deeply involved in the founding of the Federal Reserve. Now, in 1917, the Balfour Declaration was written to the Rothschilds from the British government, promising the Jews a national home, as well as promising the existing native population with equality in all areas, which of course has never happened. And two very powerful Zionist oligarchs helped fund the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, and they also funded the Scofield Reference Bible. It was also in 1917 that millions of copies of the Scofield Reference Bible was printed by the Oxford University Press, which was run by Zionists. Since it was first published in 1909, the Scofield Reference Bible has made uncompromising Zionists out of tens of millions of Americans. The founder of Christian United for Israel said that 50 million evangelical Bible-believing Christians unite with 5 million American Jews standing together on behalf of Israel. It was the Scofield Bible that he was talking about. And although the Scofield Reference Bible contains the text of the King James Authorized Version, it is not the traditional Protestant Bible, but C.I. Scofield's commentary that is problematic. Now, more than any other factor, it is Scofield's notes that have induced generations of American evangelicals to believe that God demands their uncritical support for the modern state of Israel. Central to Christian Zionist belief is Scofield's commentary on Genesis 12:3. Now that verse reads, I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. Scofield added, it has invariably fared ill with the people who have persecuted the Jew, well with those who have protected him. The future will still more remarkably prove this principle. Now, the founder of Christian United for Israel claims, the man or nation that lifts a voice or hand against Israel invites the wrath of God. But the promise, when referring to Abraham's descendants, speaks of God blessing them, not an entire nation, blessing the Hebrew nation, much less the contemporary and secular state of Israel. The New Scofield Study Bible, published by Oxford University Press in 1984, intensified Scofield's interpretation by adding, for a nation to commit the sin of anti-Semiticism brings inevitable judgment. It seems Christian Zionist, particular reading of history and contemporary events, sets Israel and the Jewish people apart from other peoples in the Middle East. It also intensifies tensions between Jews and Palestinians, and undermines attempts to find a peaceful resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, all because the Bible tells them so. Now, 2 years after Scofield's reported conversion to Christianity in 1879, the Atchison Patriot, Kansas daily newspaper, was less than impressed, describing the former Atchison resident as the late lawyer, politician, and shyster generally. The article went on to recount a few of Scofield's many malicious acts. These include a series of forgeries in St. Louis that he received 6 months in jail for. And others have been even more explicit about the nature of Scofield's service to the Zionist agenda. In Unjust War Theory, Christian Zionism and the Road to Jerusalem, the author writes, Untermeyer uses Scofield, a Kansas City lawyer with no formal training in theology, to inject Zionist ideas into American Protestantism. Untermeyer and other wealthy and influential Zionists whom he introduced to Scofield promoted and funded the latter's career, including travel into Europe. The Scofield Reference Bible has been widely used to teach the Bible to evangelical and fundamentalist Christians and their ministers for 100 years. And as a result of this, the UK's Religion Media Centre on 21st of February 2022 estimated there are some 30 million Christian Zionists in the U.S. Now, this is a major voting bloc, and this is quite possibly what got our current president elected twice. In this past election, he received 77 million votes. And as we said, about 30 million of those votes were possibly Christian Zionists. The current administration has been making it very clear they unquestionably support Israel no matter what. But this issue is much larger than this current administration. What paved the way toward the existence of the modern state of Israel was Scofield's widely disseminated proto-Zionist teachings, with a special impact in the English-speaking world. Anyone who has studied the origins of Zionism soon discovers it was a Christian movement first. There were a number of Christian projects in England in the 19th century to restore the Jews to Palestine. But these early attempts for restoration to the Holy Land did not become a front and center issue until these commentaries were written by Scofield. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, rabbis had actually taught it would be sacrilegious to return to Jerusalem before the coming of their Messiah. In the 20th century, many rabbis objected strongly to the fact almost all the original Jewish Zionists were secular, non-religious Jews. None of this is to say the Jewish people don't deserve to have Israel. It is to say, however, without the huge influence of the Scofield Reference Bible, British and American support for the creation of Israel might not have actually ever happened. The Scofield Reference Bible changed the very nature of Christianity as it has been and is being practiced in the U.S. A sizable percentage of America's Christians believe in a soon-to-arrive end of days, the Great Battle of Armageddon, the Jewish rebuilding of the Jerusalem Temple, the rapture of the true Christians into heaven, the 7 years of world tribulation, and the second coming. None of the above is actually taught in the Bible itself. It is taught in the Scofield Reference Bible, in the annotations written by Scofield. That's not exactly the same thing as the Hebrew or the Greek texts themselves. Perhaps it is the Scofield's notes to the book of Revelation that are the most dangerous ones and have thrust that book of the Bible into a top position among many Christians today. Now, for example, Romanism, that's the Catholic Church, he said, weds Christian doctrine to pagan ceremonies. The Great Tribulation is a period of unexampled trouble, and its vortex, Jerusalem and the Holy Land. The present world system refers to the order under which Satan has organized the world. Ecclesiastical Babylon is apostate Christendom, headed by the papacy, and is the great whore. Now, those are just a few of his notes, but you can see how diverse his commentary seems to be. Now, if ever there was a perfect example of how one book can cause a mountain of trouble, it is the Scofield Reference Bible. It is now commonly called the Scofield Study Bible. People actually use this book to study the Bible. Scary, huh? Just more food for thought.
Thanks for watching this and all our videos. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until we meet again, stay curious, fellow travelers, and have a great day.